down with me and hold me in your arms, and your heart's against my chest, your lips pressed to my neck. I'm falling for your eyes, but they don't know me yet. And with a feeling I forget, I'm in love now. Kiss me like you wanna be loved. You wanna be loved. You wanna be loved. This feels like falling in love. Falling in love. Falling in love. Settle down with me, and I'll be your safety. You'll be my lady. I was made to keep your body warm, but I'm cold as the wind blows. So hold me in your arms. Oh no, my heart's against your chest, your lips pressed to my neck. I'm falling for your eyes, but they don't know me yet. And with this feeling I'll forget, I'm in love now. Kiss me like you wanna be loved. You wanna be loved. You wanna be loved. This feels like falling in love. Falling in love. Falling in love. Yeah, I've been feeling everything, from hate to love, from love to lust, from lust to truth. I guess that's how I know you. So I'll hold you close to help you give it up. So kiss me like you wanna be loved. You wanna be loved. You wanna be loved. This feels like falling in love. Falling in love. Falling in love. Kiss me like you wanna be loved. You wanna be loved. You wanna be loved. This feels like falling in love. Falling in love. Falling in love.
All right, that was Ed Sheeran with Kiss Me. My last song for today's show, Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong, Dream a Little Dream of Me. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Stay tuned for Aimless Pretension up next.
Stars shining bright above you, night breezes seem to whisper, I love you. Birds singing in the sycamore tree, dream a little dream of me. Say nighty-night and kiss me. Just hold me tight and tell me you'll miss me while I'm alone and blue as can be. Dream dream a little dream of me.
Stars fading, but I linger on, dear.
Oh, how you linger on.
Still craving your kiss.
How you crave my kiss.
Now I'm longing to linger till dawn, dear. Just saying this.
Give me a little kiss, sweet dreams, till sunbeams find you. Sweet dreams that leave all worries behind you. But in your dreams, whatever they be, dream a little dream of me.
Buzz, 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 stars fading, but I linger on, dear. Still craving your kiss. Yeah, I'm longing to linger till dawn, dear. Just saying this. Sweet dreams, dreaming
till sunbeams find you. Keep dreaming.
Gotta keep dreaming.
Leave the worries behind you. But in your dreams, whatever they be, you've gotta make me a promise.
Oh, yeah.
Promise to me you'll dream. Dream a little dream of me.
Oh, I'll come clean. Everyone knows it's me. And if I recover, will you be my comfort? Or it can be over, or we can just leave it here. So pick any number, choose any color. I've got the answer. Open the envelope. I'll give you one more chance. Say we can change or part ways, and you take what you need. You don't need me. I'll give you one more chance. Say we can change our old ways, and you take what you need. And you know you
They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists.
Joseph built the pyramids in order to store grain.
But we have people that are stupid.
Cover all 9,000 taste buds.
Show me the evidence. Show me the evidence.
I think it's time for Sex Ed with Brother Ted.
This is a disclaimer. The views expressed on this show do not reflect the views of the station as a whole, nor the board of curators who hold our license.
Hail Satan!
All right. It's that time of the week again. It is officially 12:07 in the PM, and you're listening to 89.7 FM, Kamenar, Rolla, Missouri. And this is Aimless Pretension.
Scar! This is Jack the Ripper.
This is Satan.
This is DJ Fish Sticks.
Travis Television isn't here today, but it's us three.
Yeah.
So,
It's like the Holy Trinity.
The Holy Trinity. The Unholy Trinity. Father, Son, and Hail Satan.
So what's happened this week?
Lots of stuff.
Oh, a lot of stuff. Yeah, we were in that drought of media, outbreaks for a bit there. And now we actually have some good, interesting things to talk about.
Yeah, I was actually talking the other day with my public radio KMST coworkers that the election just totally sucks all interesting things from the media, it seems like. It's like, you get all this election coverage, there's hours and hours and hours and hours of analysis and discussion about this, but there's other serious things going on, and, it gives us less to talk about here on the show.
Yeah. It's difficult to talk about things when things aren't happening.
But if we want to talk about the most obvious thing, if you want to scroll the media and the internet, then, the New Hampshire primary did happen this week.
It did. Yeah, we could start with that if you want.
So, it's the New Hampshire primary. It's the second primary in the United States
right.
For the 2016 election. And
for those who are wondering, New Hampshire is a state.
New
in
Hampshire
the Union.
is
That's
actually,
a place.
it's actually a state.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people know that, but it is actually a state.
People that live there don't even know it. They still think it's a territory.
It's true.
They're like, are we Canada or we United States? We don't know.
But anyway, the New Hampshire primary happened, and there was some pretty shocking outcomes. Iowa was a wash, really.
Right.
With a lot of people, on the Democratic side, you have Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton squeaking ahead just barely at 49.6% compared to 49.3% or something.
Hey, you're leaving out a key contender.
Martin O'Malley with his 0.3% that he got.
He was killing it.
I know.
Good job, Martin.
Roasted.
I like Martin O'Malley. I don't like that he's just put on the back burner, or I should say thrown in the trash at this point, because I'm sure
he got
in the next week or two he's going to drop his campaign.
Right.
But so on the Republican side, Iowa was fairly washy. Ted Cruz won, but there was a lot of other Republicans that got a pretty good majority of the vote. But New Hampshire, some fears were realized.
Well, I believe it was something weird with the actual what was it, the votes. Bernie got 9, and then Hillary got something close to that, and then whether or not they're super, super candidates. God, I can't remember the word.
Here, I'm going to look up New Hampshire primary results here on my fancy phone.
Will Frodo be there?
I wish. That'd be really great.
That would be pretty cool.
I'd move to New Hampshire immediately.
No, you wouldn't.
But anyway,
the delegates.
Right.
That's the word I was looking for.
Super delegates.
The official stats here are Sanders with 60.4% of the vote, Hillary Clinton with 38.0, Martin O'Malley with 0.3. And then on the Republican side,
looks like Trump won, of course, with a vote of 35.3% and 10 delegates. And then Keish, is that how you say his name?
Kasich.
Kasich.
Yeah.
Kasich. Yeah.
Kasich.
No, it's Kasich.
I hate him.
Yeah.
Just because his name is hard to pronounce. We need an American name like Trump.
The fact that Kasich got 15.8% of the vote, it's actually kind of riled people up, because a lot of people didn't really think Kasich was going to do very well. He's kind of been on the background, and then the fact that he has such a sizable portion of the vote in New
the
Hampshire.
Republican Party's all over the
He beat
place.
out Cruz. He beat out Cruz.
Yeah, which Cruz won like 35% in Iowa. So it's Republican side as usual is kind of a clown show still.
Yeah, there's a reason though. There's a reason they fielded so many candidates.
Well, it's a card to get Hillary elected.
I honestly feel like the Republican Party is kind of realizing, oh wow, Donald Trump is our guy right now.
I think Ted Cruz is really their guy right now.
But as far as polling goes, and as far as the way that primaries have gone so far, I feel like, at least this is what I'm hearing.
Well, Cruz has got one, and Trump's got one right now so far. Because
Well, I
Cruz
know,
won in
but again,
Iowa.
you look at polls throughout the country. Trump's expected to win in a lot of other states. So I think Republicans are almost in a crisis, because if Trump were to become the Republican nomination, it'd really change the face of the Republican Party.
I don't think it would. I think it would just bring it into the light.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think it would change the face.
Well, if your face is a mask,
oh, this is gonna get deep. Keep going. Go.
If you have a mask on your face, then taking it off is
If
quite
orange
a
is yellow
shock.
and yellow is blue,
But,
I'm a duck.
But yeah, what you were
Haikus are fun.
What Satan was talking about with the superdelegates,
Right.
is actually, I really want to have a show that we talk more in depth. I don't want to do it right now, but I want to talk more in depth about how our electorate system works.
Yeah, of course.
Because
it's going to be more and more appropriate rapidly approaching November.
There are these things called superdelegates, which are essentially just high-ranking party members. And they take part in the Electoral College, and they can sway the vote pretty significantly. Superdelegates have not been the deciding factor in changing an election ever before. But when you look up superdelegates and the total number of delegates that either Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders have, Hillary Clinton has something on the order of 300 delegates in total if you take in the delegates that she gets from the primary and caucuses that have happened so far, and then add, which is vastly her number of delegates she has, is made up of superdelegates. Again, these party leaders who go to vote.
Well, it's just a shift back,
and
in
they don't
time.
have to. They don't have to follow. They don't have to follow the public opinion. They can vote for whoever they want to.
Yeah. So the basis for the delegate system, the caucuses, right? So in the it's either 60s or 70s. Before we had the primary election, we didn't. It was just the party would decide who ran. That was it. And then the party would put forth a candidate, and people would vote. That was it. That was just how it worked. 60s and 70s. Things were happening with the Vietnam War, and some guy, I forgot which presidential candidate it was. He lost to Nixon, but he got put forth by the Democratic Party, even though all the people were like, "We don't want this guy. We want this other guy." And so after that, it became a requirement that in the primaries, whoever the public decided that they wanted, delegates were required to vote for that person. And now we're seeing a shift back in time, kind of, where, oh no, superdelegates don't have to listen to the public. They can vote however they want in the party's interest. So it's interesting to see. I just learned that the other day about how it wasn't before the 70s. It was just the party would pick someone and everyone just kind of accepted it and voted between two people.
Huh.
Made it really simple, but also not democratic at all.
Yeah, that's the frustrating part, is that it seems so very undemocratic to have the popular vote overwhelmingly, 60% in New Hampshire vote for somebody who these, if you will, sort of behind the scenes sort of establishment people are saying, no, the real candidate's Hillary Clinton, despite the public opinion.
But on the flip side of that, too, the Founding Fathers were worried about mob rule. And that's what a public vote would lead to. It's mob rule.
I mean, what do you...
Which is the lesser of two evils.
I feel like using the term mob rule puts a really negative connotation on it.
But it can become that, though, right?
So I also want to point out, isn't it, like, there's a difference between mob rule and then rule by a mob? Like a mafia, for instance, like a family.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, in the way that I see it, I don't want mob rule, and also don't want mob rule.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't want these. I don't want.
I think
I
I
don't want
see what
these.
you're
I don't want
saying.
these corporate like I promised my vote to this person because they gave me so much money, and
Yeah.
it's kind of to see at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to balance between having this like, establishment quote unquote mob and sort of like the more sort of riotous term of mob
of
in
a
terms
large
of
group
like
of people
the
being a
general
mob.
population.
Yeah.
I think the founding fathers were more concerned with when they say mob rule. Here's an example I can give you where I think this is where they were concerned about. Say slavery, topic of slavery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mob rule says a large portion of people say we want slavery,
Yeah.
right? That's mob rule.
Mhm.
And so government's job at that point is to step in and be the voice of reason.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting problem because it's true. Like you can have the majority of people were opposed to gay rights.
Mm-hmm.
That the majority, but the Supreme Court had to come in and say no. This is the right thing to do.
Well, it also just kind of hits on the issue of like, well, who's actually coming out to vote? It's the people who have the strongest opinions about the issue, you know. And if you were to say
satisfied customers don't leave custom reviews.
Yeah, exactly. If you were to say, hey, should we legalize gay marriage? The people against it would come up, in flames and vote against it. But the people who don't even, the fact that, that gay marriage being a problem, the fact that it doesn't even cross their mind, they don't even think about that kind of thing, and they might not vote for it. So I understand that, like, the Electoral College and those kind of, like, sort of establishment, quote-unquote, voters need to exist, but you have to have a balance.
But
And
there's balance.
this idea of superdelegates where
No,
they
that's a
have
problem.
they
That's a
have
problem.
no attachment other than their own personal desires and their own gain. That's what's concerning to me. And the fact that
maybe because you don't know, maybe those people are playing that voice of reason role.
well, yeah,
Maybe,
of course.
maybe.
That's why you have these sort of checks and balances in government because
In
there's
our government.
obviously you don't want to have, the public just crashing our economy because most people don't understand.
Instead, we have a small group
economics
of people
deeply.
crashing our
Well,
economy.
yeah.
Even better.
Again, you just have to have these checks and balances, but it just seems like we've slowly gotten rid of them through clever legal work and clever
Yeah.
politics.
Yeah, clever politics. Like
Well, and the fact
like,
that Hillary Clinton has literally all of the superdelegates, that's somewhat strange to me.
Yeah, that is a problem.
That's very
Well,
strange.
you also have to think, though, right? Our political process is so entrenched right now that money has led politics for a while, at least the past 10 years, maybe 20, maybe more, maybe since Nixon. That's what I think. But
Probably.
they're not going to let a guy like Bernie Sanders through the gates without a serious fight.
Well, that's what I'm saying is the fact that Hillary Clinton has all of the superdelegates pretty much, to me, pretty clearly spells out their motive.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that, Hillary Clinton is like, making backdoor deals. And, maybe she is. But I don't think Hillary Clinton's the worst thing in the world. I don't think that, if Hillary Clinton were to be president, that it would be, I wouldn't be quite as upset as, if Trump were to become president.
yeah, I was about to say anything's better than Trump.
Or frankly, anybody on the Republican side, because they all have these insane opinions that
I would vote for Trump over Hillary Clinton.
Really.
Yep.
Expand.
Yeah, expand. I want to know.
Trump is less of an establishment guy. Like the goal,
Yeah.
the majority of the reason why our generation likes Sanders is because he's not establishment, right? He's like, I've got a consistent voting record. I fight for the little guy, blah, 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 keeps going. Trump is the extreme light version of that, but with more bigotry thrown in.
Yeah.
See, I thought you were saying establishment guy, not established guy.
No, because I mean Trump, and he has stuck to it. Like, I got my own money. I don't need to take money from people.
That's a respectable. It's a respectable
It would be
stance.
less than ideal. It's like the shiniest of two turds is the.
I mean,
idea.
doesn't that seem to be the way that all elections have become nowadays?
Politics.
Lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that Donald Trump is being genuine right now. I think that he's
not.
think he's an actually smart guy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean,
and he has liberal tendencies too.
Exactly.
He's
you look at
good friends with Hillary.
You look at the way he's behaved throughout his entire life. He's pretty liberal,
Yeah.
or at least centrist, moderate.
Yeah.
You know,
he has liberal policies. Like he's even talked about student loans. He's mentioned the 10 to 10 rule, which Hillary has been throwing around too, where if you pay consistently, you don't miss a payment on your student loans for 10 years, they wipe it out.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad gig.
Yeah.
It's definitely something, but I don't know.
But I've heard a lot of people saying, well, I'm trying to decide between Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, which, on the outside seems totally insane. But there's all this notion that Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders are the same because they're this non-establishment candidate or whatever.
People are desperate, man. Like
exactly.
Our society has been put in a pressure cooker after 2008, and honestly, before that, ever since Iraq, I would say, even before that, early 2000s, our society has been in a pressure cooker, and people are getting more and more desperate, reaching to the extremes of both parties to find somebody that's going to fix the problem.
I think that what people want to see the most in this election is not necessarily their ideology put in place, but they want to see something.
They want to see
happen.
America's prosperity come back.
They want to see something happen to try. I think that's why Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders are getting so much attention, because Donald Trump, he seems like the kind of guy that's going to go in there and say, no, this is the way it's going to be. We're doing it this way. Yeah. I'm tough, like I've been saying for years. Where Bernie Sanders, he has these crazy, ideological ideas.
Also kind of says the same.
Socialism.
Well,
he's a hardline guy.
Yeah,
like, I'm consistent. Look at me. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. That's kind of his pitch.
Yeah,
they both are pitching the same thing, just different brands, I guess.
It's going to be an interesting summer. I think.
It's going to be an interesting summer. Yeah, knives are out for sure.
Yeah,
Politics.
It's going to be a heated discussion.
Do we want to?
I don't want Hillary to win.
Do we want to take a quick break for some programming?
Let's take a quick break.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
We got quite a shift in topic after this.
Right. You've been listening to Aimless Pretension, and we've been talking about politics.
Yeah, check us out on Facebook.
Oh, yeah, check us out on Facebook.
Text in.
Call. The number to do so is 504-656-6735.
Or write us a letter.
And we'll just promptly throw in the trash.
Yeah, smoke signals work too.
Smoke signals they work, but we'll ignore them as well.
Yeah.
We will answer your calls and put you on the air if you have an opinion that we feel is worth arguing with or the like. Anyway, so programming, we're going to listen to some NIH Health Matters with Joe Belinfi.
Woo!
Oh my.
This is NIH Health Matters. I'm Joe Belinfi. Since countries around the world have become better at controlling infectious diseases, cancer has emerged as a serious global health threat. Dr. Edward Trimble, a cancer expert at NIH, says cancer accounts for 13% of deaths around the world.
There are more deaths from cancer than there are from tuberculosis, malaria, and HIV/AIDS combined. 2/3 of cancer deaths occur in low and middle income countries. So it's a major problem both in the developed world as well as in the developing world.
He adds cancer is a problem in every country. For more information about cancer prevalence, visit cancer.gov. Health Matters is produced by NIH, part of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
All right, we're back. We had some funny conversation.
Laughing about our topic that will be coming up very soon.
Yes.
It's really funny, guys.
It's really funny. It involves organs. All right. So the weather for this afternoon.
Both organs.
It'll be mostly cloudy.
That was good. We need a duck board.
We need a duck board. We do. We need sound effects. Anyway, so for the weather, this afternoon it'll be mostly cloudy with a high around 36. Wind chill values as low as 21. Tonight it'll be partly cloudy with a low around 7. Wind chill values low as -3. Oh my. Saturday it'll be mostly cloudy with a high around 26.
Chilly.
Saturday night it'll be cloudy with a low around 15.
Eat some chili.
Sunday there'll be snow likely after 7 a.m. Cloudy with a high around 32.
Snowy and chilly.
And Sunday night will be snow likely, mainly before 7 p.m., and it'll be mostly cloudy with a low around 26.
Chile, the country.
Oh, I love this. It's Monday is labeled as Washington's birthday.
I thought it was President's Day.
That is Washington's birthday.
That is Washington's birthday.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, imagine that. The first president we ever had, his birthday is President's Day.
Why can't they pick a better day?
It's president-ist. Let's make this into a thing.
He's like 99% president, 1% cow teeth.
Cow teeth. Isn't it hippo teeth? I thought it was hippo.
Hippo teeth?
Yeah, hippo ivory. They used hippo ivory, I thought.
What? I thought they were wooden teeth.
No, they're not wood.
What? That's like the stereotypical archetype of Washington. Wooden teeth.
Either way, he's dead and rolling in his grave right now, so it's all good.
Hey, this is what I learned in high school history. It's got to be real.
Yeah, government mandated schooling. Good stuff.
Your alcoholic history teacher really cared about his job. As do they all.
So what is our next topic here?
Oh man. So well, I'm sure everyone has heard about the what was it? Flint County, right? That's
Flint,
the name
Flint,
of it.
Michigan.
Flint, Michigan.
City of Flint.
City of
County.
Flint. Right. Jackson County. That's the one. They have been
I'm about
poisoned.
to get all Michigan up in here, man. I'm from Michigan, people. Let's do this.
Right. So maybe you could fill in the background with the water situation.
It's cray.
Super cray.
So Flint is north of Detroit, and it's pretty much Detroit Junior, right?
Ooh.
I was just in Detroit visiting my grandfather, and Detroit is crazy right now and awesome at the same time.
It's
like,
I feel like it's been like that for like 10 years now.
it's so cool. Like there is no law. There's no law. I didn't see a single cop like the entire time. I was like, this place is awesome. And like, but also things are falling apart, which is not awesome. Like I drove over a bridge and there were holes where you could see to the water. Like, yeah, Detroit's cool. So Flint, which is like the little cousin or whatever of Detroit, is where a lot of automotive stuff is, because in that whole area, they're all right there. And Flint and Detroit and a majority of cities in the United States have lead pipes still. And before this water crisis, Flint was pulling water out of... It's either the river or Erie. One of the two.
I think the deal is that they were facing financial trouble.
Well, what happened? Yeah, so they cut costs.
They decided to cut costs. They'd start taking water from the Flint River.
Yeah, so they switch sources, and it corrodes or eats
the
away at
the Flint
pipes.
River is highly corrosive and has been eating away at these pipes that were installed in probably the 19th century.
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy to find out, or to follow along that that's probably going to put some lead in your water.
Yeah, and the water is gross. You guys are probably everyone at this point should at least be familiar with the Flint water crisis topic, because
it's been blown up on.
It's been blown up, right? It's been blown up, and all they do is like show a picture of the water color, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, I mean it's
gross.
It's just
brown.
rust. It's rust-colored water.
Yeah,
coming out of your tap, coming out of your shower, in your toilet.
The lead. What did they say? That up to like 5,000 kids already might have mental issues because they've been drinking the water.
I mean, this has become a really huge public health crisis.
They're rationing. They have ration supplies of bottled water for every citizen. That's insane. In the United States, we're rationing water.
Yeah.
Crazy
because of bureaucracy and because of that makes me angry.
So my grandfather explained it to me like this, because I was like, oh, it's because of the big auto, the big three and everything. He's like, no, it's not really the problem. The problem was there's a lot of money flowing in and out of Detroit and Flint. You can just group them together because they're so close, and lots of money flowing in and out. And then we had this financial crisis.
Yeah, the housing crisis.
Everyone thought that the money flowing into Detroit was just going to last forever.
Yeah,
and so there was a ton of corruption. Like I didn't actually know this.
Mistake.
Well, I didn't know. I didn't know that Detroit is extremely corrupt. Like there's like a large mob group there, and all the politicians are dirty. Like this is how he explained it to me. But I was like, oh, that's crazy. And apparently, like they were just taking bribe after bribe, saying, hey, we're gonna build this bridge, and then they never built the bridge, or like would build it really crappy, and like they're just taking tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of money, and yeah, and then the financial crisis hit, and then all of a sudden the money's gone, and they have nothing to show for it. And so all the infrastructure just crumbled.
Yeah. Collapsed.
Yeah, and it's continued to be a problem right now.
It's getting better though. There's actually kind of a hipster theme area now of Detroit that's becoming more and more of a thing.
Yeah.
It was on Anthony Bourdain, and that came out like a year or two ago. So
I have downtown Detroit cheap.
It's cheap, and and because of that cultural scene of those hipster scum, the food's good and it's cheap.
Well, yeah, cheap living downtown in a semi-anarchist type feel. It's got to draw hamsters.
When I was there, I will tell you though, it was surreal to see. Like you would see these neighborhoods with like 2 houses and then just fields.
Yeah,
Green,
or is it like a burnt down house?
It was just green grass, and then like a burnt down house where like squatters were doing whatever, but just green. You're just like, whoa, what is going on here?
I've
in
seen,
the center of the city.
I've seen some pictures of Detroit, and it is surreal. It's like a ghost town that's still alive somehow. It's like weirdly gets that vibe where you're like, well, this is still a city, but it seems like everybody's dead and everybody's just not
like
really
one
there.
house per block.
It's like squishing the head on a roach.
Yeah, like one house per block that's not boarded up.
Yeah,
you know,
it was definitely interesting. I will say if you go there, make sure your suspension is on point in your car because
lots of potholes.
The roads are terrible.
And if you look at their public parks, like where kids would go and play, and like clearly the equipment is not that old, within like maybe the 5 or 10 years, and grass has grown up underneath all of the equipment to the point where you could, if you were walking through the field and you weren't paying attention, you might walk into a monkey bar set or something like that.
Sweet.
And there's a coalition of people that were going around with like lawnmowers and getting together and mowing those things for free, just so that kids could have a place to play and stuff.
It's weird.
It's cool, which is cool.
But anyway,
getting back to the Flint, Michigan
backstory.
water crisis. The crazy thing to me is there's been all this, obviously people have been causing a ruckus and getting into the media's attention. But as it's gotten into the light of the media, it's been found that there was a ton of negligence on the city council's part of sort of just writing off the lead content. It was found out there was I can't remember what company it was. Maybe it was GE or GM. Maybe GM's in Detroit, so I assume it's probably GM. But GM, only 6 months after they started using the Flint River as their water source, came to the city and said, "Hey, this water source is corrupting our equipment, and this is costing us, tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year because obviously a large manufacturing equipment isn't cheap." And they ignored it, essentially. And that's what they're bringing forth right now, saying, hey, you guys knew about this issue. And now we have all of our kids, 5,000 kids possibly, who are facing potential mental issues as they develop in their life. What are you going to do about this? That's insane that you completely ignored this humongous health crisis.
Yeah.
I mean, lead paint has been illegal since the 70s. I mean, the fact that you think that you can just ignore lead contents in water, which everyone's drinking every day.
And they need.
Yeah, and you have to survive.
Well, I didn't know this until I started reading up on it. Like, Rolla has lead pipes.
Oh yeah,
a lot of
older towns do,
but they have filtration systems that make sure no lead ends up on tap, right? And I was like, oh, that's crazy. Detroit's a problem scenario because they have no money, destabilized government, and everyone in a crisis. Right, so everyone's just arguing, trying to figure out what to do, but there's no money to really do anything, and everyone's freaking out because there's a big problem, a looming problem. It's a nightmare.
That's one thing. That's one thing I have seen that is a good thing about issues like this exploding on the internet and on social media nowadays is, you see people sending cases of water to Flint, Michigan. You see charity groups who are helping these people out who are really having an issue. And you have essentially the whole United States, if not larger parts of the world, backing up Flint, Michigan, supporting them because their government and their city council can't.
That's just crazy. It reminds you, I know we're freaking out about, like, everyone in the country is like, oh, Detroit, but it should remind you of the coming and going of prosperity in capitalism, right? Because at one point, Detroit was the 3rd largest city in America.
Yeah.
In, like, the 50s. It was huge. And now it's dead.
I mean, it was the car capital.
Yeah, it still is. It's Motor City, man.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's obviously going to be prosperous in the time that it was prosperous.
It's just that's crazy that people don't like to think about that, but capitalism, that's how it works. You know, it can go tomorrow.
Yeah,
Ford is still there. Ford has a huge presence in Detroit. Which is, I mean, and they will always have a presence in Detroit. They made Motor City.
But yeah, it's an interesting issue, and it's
and then legislation, like while all this is happening, they're passing laws against sodomy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's our next topic here. Instead of like actually focusing on issues that are real,
right?
I guess they're passing laws which you can't actually ever enforce.
Right. And apparently, I didn't know this.
Which were redundant too.
Yeah. There's apparently 14 states that have similar legislation.
Oh yeah.
That outlaw sodomy between two human beings.
So, my biggest qualm with outlawing sodomy,
right,
is who is watching. Who is
Jesus,
enforcing this?
Jesus is watching. All the time.
Why would we even waste paper to print a piece of law that says this?
Right.
Why would we waste anyone's time saying that having anal sex is illegal?
Well, hold on. Let me stop you there. Now, sodomy is not just anal sex.
Really?
Yeah, sodomy, and I'm not actually sure what the connotation really defines anymore, but is any unnatural form of sex.
See, that's even crazier because then you get this subjective element.
Right. Okay, so then oral sex is sodomy.
And I guarantee you that, even if it weren't, anal sex, they could categorize homosexual activities as unnatural.
Right.
I'm sure there's somebody out there that's already trying to work to do that kind of thing.
Right. And so now more specifics on more details.
His name is Ted Cruz, by the way. That's that person.
I just want to glitter bomb him.
He'd probably think it's anthrax.
He'd probably think it's anthrax.
Sign from the Lord.
But yeah, how they did it though was they were passing a law or it was a law that they were adding extra details to about bestiality, basically. Mm-hmm. It included bestiality, but they weren't necessarily changing things about bestiality. But it said a man or a woman consenting in a deviant sexual conduct in this nature against another human or another animal. So like the fact that it said mankind, they just added that and mankind.
Yeah. I don't think that was like their goal though.
Well, why would they? What was their goal then?
Because they're stupid politicians. I don't think they were like, we're gonna write this law and we're gonna stop everybody.
Well, no, it's just we're changing this law for this entirely different reason. Let's go to this other sentence that has nothing to do with what we're changing, and then add that little bit there.
See, I want to call the senator or whoever supported this bill. I want to ask him what is the reason, and I want to do it legitimately. I mean, I'm genuinely curious why you would go to the political effort to get legislation in place that makes sodomy illegal.
Yeah.
Why is that something that you even think is worth your time?
I don't think they...
This is his face right here for you.
Now I understand.
I don't think they necessarily went out of their way to do that. I think it's kind of like a perfect storm of Michigan government is under extreme scrutiny right now, obviously, and rightfully so. And so people are reading everything pass through. I don't know. But I don't think they were going out of their way to be like, all right, this law, we're going to stop the homosexuals.
See,
we're going to get them all.
But this is my point. They did go out of their way because this is a piece of paper that ended up on their desk and they said, I'm going to take time out of my day. I don't care if they read it.
They're supposed to.
They're supposed to, but
they still took time out of their day, and it still takes time in other people's days that aren't the ones signing the piece of paper to make things legitimate.
Who drafted the bill?
It takes time and energy to do this, no matter what. And when your state's facing water crisis, you're going to put that through.
You don't know though, because the political process, right? This bill could have been introduced 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4, 5, 6, 8. No,
I got you.
And you don't know if he drafted the bill, right?
Yeah.
He might have just been like, oh yeah, sign away. And I'm also pretty sure that it was included in something else, which that happens all the time too.
That's a big problem.
That is a huge problem.
System lately.
But like, we don't know. I think it's just kind of a incompetence in with politicians, which is a given, and then a perfect storm of scrutiny from the media, right?
Yeah.
Because that's really easy to be like, well, the people are getting Alzheimer's and dying from lead poisoning. That's not what happens. Not Alzheimer's.
But still,
and he's passing anti-sodomy bills. It's a perfect headline.
Even in a perfect world, if this legislation took literally zero time, literally zero energy, what's the point? Again, who's going to enforce this? Why is this even something that we need to make a law? What's the purpose of outlawing sodomy?
Bestiality is a serious problem in Michigan.
Well, okay, no, it's not necessarily bestiality itself. It's just defamation of pet animals. that they were trying to address necessarily. And if you're trying to address people's animals being abused, why does it have anything to do with sexual acts with humans?
Yeah.
And other humans?
Yeah.
There's plenty of other laws you could put in place to prevent animal abuse.
Yeah, if anything, like what you were saying though, if they were just being stupid or whatever, it makes me angry that subconsciously these legislatures are still homophobic. Yeah, and they're still in charge of people's lives.
You look at this article that we're
I don't think they consciously did it.
You look at this article.
That's my point though. That's even a bigger issue than consciously doing it.
Mm-hmm. I feel like so many people associate sodomy with just gay sex.
Yeah,
But if you look at this, even if it wasn't Michigan that did that, for the purpose of homosexuals, you look at this map that is included in this article that lies out what states have illegal sodomy, and there's not 2 categories for yes and no. There's 3 categories. The third one is only if you're gay. So there's states
but you
out
also
there.
have to remember
there's states out there that have
a lot of those laws were drafted hundreds of years ago.
Well, I understand.
That's
yes.
a huge.
But my point is that like there's it's still there.
It's still there, but then
like you can get married in that state, but having sex with your partner,
but there's also
illegal.
but there's also old laws like spitting on the street on a Tuesday is illegal, right?
Well, yeah, I guess my argument is still just who is going to enforce this and why does it exist? Period.
No one. It's not that I think the problem is so. Let's say tomorrow government says, all right, we're going to go through all the old laws and we're going to clean it. We're going to clean up these laws, right? Which is an enormous task because you got to go through all the houses, just like the federal government.
An infinitely
right?
enormous task.
So we say tomorrow they say they're going to do this, right? And so all of a sudden, instead of being progressive with their actions and creating new laws that are relevant today, they're just spending 3 years going back through old laws.
No.
Would you be happy or upset with your government's performance?
No, I totally understand where you're coming from. Like it's like that. It's irrelevant, but why go to the effort of trying to get rid of it? I understand, but
so it just comes down to we just won't enforce it.
But you say that now, but they're still passing new ones,
and it's very easy for them to not do that.
Obviously, this is something in their mind that they think is worth getting through the legislation process. And that's what's crazy to me, is the fact that it crosses anybody's desk and they say, yeah, this is worth signing.
But also, I'm pretty sure this was hid inside of another bill. And it was, this segment had to do with bestiality, and they just included humans.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say it was just a stupid mistake, right? So it's just hidden. I don't think they're really out to get people. Like, it would be one thing if, like, tomorrow they were like, the name of the bill was Anti-Sodomy Act of 2016.
Yeah. No,
that's a different ball game.
But maybe I'm playing only slightly devil's advocate here because. I'm not saying that you need to go have sex with animals, but why is bestiality illegal? Why is this something we need to take time and energy to make into legislation?
Whoa.
I mean, again, I'm playing only slightly devil's advocate because I just want to ask, why is this worth our time? But I say only slightly because I don't want to.
Sound like a libertarian.
I don't want to go have sex with animals. But why does it matter if anybody does?
Why does the government have any right to tell us what to do? Interesting question.
But it's more of like, why? I don't care if the government tells me what to do in terms of like, if, for instance, climate change or like economic or downturns.
Driving down the street not
hitting
like
someone.
A
libertarian, man.
But it's like, what does it matter? What happens with animals?
Doesn't. Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna go slaughter animals like by the millions and think nothing of it, but like suddenly when like you want to get some pleasure from it, then it's illegal, and we need to make this a thing. Again, I want to emphasize.
Right.
I am not trying.
I'm waiting
to
for
like,
that phone to ring.
I'm not trying to promote that like having sex with animals is something you need to go do, but I don't know why we need to make it a law that. I don't know why we need to use energy.
Bans it?
Yeah, I don't know why we need to have the energy to specifically ban it.
Yeah, because we don't have the capabilities to enforce it.
That's my main point.
And what are we doing?
There is a line though there too, right? Because animal abuse and bestiality are there's a gray area, right?
Right.
Again, maybe we shouldn't go down this way. Do we really want to start talking about the gray area between animal abuse and bestiality? I'm not sure. But
I do.
I just don't know why we have to have these laws that are unenforceable essentially, and really a huge waste of time and energy.
Yeah.
That's my biggest problem with sodomy laws. It's a total waste of the political process.
I don't think they're. Once again, though, I think this energy could be better directed at.
Better directed. I think that's my main point.
Yeah.
Is that there's so many more important things to focus on, especially in the context of this particular issue that started this conversation, being in Flint, Michigan. You have this huge humanitarian crisis, and they're worried about getting sodomy bills through.
But it's not a sodomy bill.
I know.
It's
I know.
you know.
But it's like we're worried. We're worried about getting, whatever bestiality bill through.
Yeah.
And you have these huge humanitarian crises going on. I don't care if it just means a signature. There's other people that have to waste their time, quote unquote, waste their time to get that officiated.
I've always seriously wondered what is, if you're a politician, right, governor, senator, blah blah blah, what does your day look like?
I've
what
really
do they
wanted
do with
to
their
see
time? I want to shadow one of them.
I want to see somebody.
I want to see what they do with their time.
Have a political vlog. Like, hey, I'm the senator of Iowa, and I'm gonna put out a vlog every week of what I did this week in politics.
Because I want to
what it means
see
on a real day-to-day basis.
I want to see if their 9 to 5 is the same as our 9 to 5.
I mean, obviously it's not, but
maybe we don't know. I mean,
but I feel like maybe we wouldn't have this sort of discussion
if they took it seriously,
if we knew the process that was involved with this this bill that we're discussing.
Maybe if they acted like public servants, we wouldn't be having this discussion.
Yeah,
either.
if everything wasn't always so behind closed
instead
doors
of a class
all the time.
thing, because honestly, it's kind of boiled down to
it's really become a class thing.
It's a class thing. You're a politician. You're up there. In reality, and democratically, you're a public servant. You're down here, actually.
Exactly.
They should be treated below us.
They should be not below. It's not a class thing anymore. They're a servant.
They're a representative of the people. They're not
but it's
something
become,
above
It's become
them.
a class problem.
Yeah.
And that's human nature. It's always going to boil down to that. We just have to keep it in check. And I think we're kind of trying to do that right now.
Well, yeah, we're trying to. As long as they start getting their fingers out of corporations and lobbying.
Yeah.
And corporations stop lobbying.
Okay.
But how do you get somebody to retract their hand from free money?
Right.
Right. Our
make,
society's built on greed.
You make a law so it's legally you can take legal action against that. As opposed to unenforceable things like sodomy.
We need to have better philosophical development in early childhood so that you don't develop people who think money is the only important thing.
Oh, right. Yeah, definitely.
I think that's the biggest deal because you say, this is free money, but yeah, it's free money at the cost of future generations.
What's Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
You've neglected climate change or
but
something like that.
Maslow's, I was just looking at that today, actually.
But you can't psychologically or philosophically develop people if their needs aren't met. Right?
Well,
yeah, exactly.
If you're talking about how do we change this free money attitude of lobbying,
we have to make sure everybody has shelter, food, water, etc.
And safety before they can start worrying about.
Because at the top is self-actualization, and that is where you would realize that money isn't everything.
I think the goal.
So we have to get everybody through all these stages. It's just insane.
And that's why socialism is great, and people need to realize money is not that important. It's about making sure that everyone can be 100% and actually be
productive.
Yeah, and actually be progressive in society.
So we got about 10 minutes left here on the show.
Right.
I
forgot.
Can we not talk about sodomy politics anymore?
Right. Yeah. You wanted to talk about science. You wanted to talk about science, and I totally forgot.
So here's a topic that I am. That last topic. Yeah, I've got some opinions, but I'm uninformed in the really intricate details of the political process, so maybe that's why a lot of my fire develops. But
water.
at least in terms of this Michigan,
I like the lip smack after
quote
that.
unquote sodomy bill. But here's something I am informed of.
Lay it on us.
And that is we discovered gravitational waves.
Right,
well,
which
we didn't discover them. Confirmed them.
Yes.
We observed them. But that is amazing. And I have so much I could talk about this for real, but I won't.
Give it a breakdown. You got 6 minutes.
Okay, so the gist of it is that there's these things called gravitational waves. If you're familiar with Einstein's famous theory of general relativity, it sets up this world in which massive objects like the Earth or the Sun or you and I really, they curve the quote fabric of space-time. So the more massive you are, the more curved space-time is, and that is, quote, that is, that manifests what we perceive as gravity.
And there's some cool videos online of this where they pull the sheet tight and they put like a bowling ball in the middle. That's super cool.
That's a strikingly good analogy of what's really happening. Is you imagine this rubber sheet or like a trampoline.
Yeah.
You put a bowling ball in the middle and you put another ball in there, it's going to fall towards the bowling ball. Well, that's kind of what Einstein's general relativity describes gravity as. Well, it also describes that these curvatures can ripple. So if you have an object accelerating, a massive object accelerating, then it causes ripples in this curvature of space-time that propagate through the universe at the speed of light. So
go on.
These things are ridiculously small waves. The amplitudes of these waves are somewhere on, the ability to measure them relies on being able to measure a distance that is half the width of a proton.
Yeah.
So
I saw that in the facility they use.
You're talking about measuring distances that are on the order of the radius of a proton, which is just absolutely absurd to begin with, because when you get down to the proton neutron level of measurement, it's no longer like, oh, the proton is X centimeters across.
Yeah.
It's, we can kind of define this place where the energy that we associate with photons is high enough to where we can say, oh, that's the boundary of the photon. So it's like there's no real actual definite scale of measurement at that level.
So you're telling me science is a lie and I should believe in you?
No, I'm saying
Jesus Christo.
the amazing part. Yes, gravitational waves are amazing, and it's incredible that we observed them. But I think the real, absolutely mind-blowing part about this discovery and this announcement is the fact that we measured it.
Yeah.
The fact that we have equipment in this world that can say with,
certainty,
a pretty good level of certainty, upwards of 90% certainty that yes, the distance between these two objects contracted by about the width of a proton.
Minuscule amount.
Because the setup for detecting these gravitational waves are basically these lasers that get bounced in perpendicular directions. So it's like one laser goes down the x-axis, another laser goes down the y-axis, and they get bounced back. Well, if a gravitational wave were to pass, through Earth essentially, then one of the directions would be contracted by that half width of the proton. That's how you detect that. That's what the gravitational wave is space literally gets contracted as these waves pass through. So, if you really think about it, a couple of weeks ago, or not a couple of weeks ago, well, yeah, it was a couple of weeks ago, but a couple of weeks ago when this gravitational wave passed Earth, every single thing on Earth, every person, every atom was contracted by about half the length of a photon. So that happened to you. If you're listening, that happened to you.
Whether you know it or not.
You were contracted by about a half of a photon. A photon's, or
that's pretty cool.
Not photon, proton's length.
Yeah, photons a little.
So you have these lasers and they're perpendicular, and one of them will be contracted. And because it's a 4 kilometer long beam that they're shooting, it upscales the length contraction a little bit.
Actually measure, yeah.
But again, it's still only the length, of a proton or something like that. So everybody else was contracted by a lot less, but still, we can measure that.
Well, I've heard too that this is going to open up a whole new world in astronomy now, because now that we can measure gravitational waves, we can look at the edge of a black hole.
Well, yeah,
which we've never been able to do before.
The ones that we observed I don't know exactly when the observation took place, but within the past couple of weeks, the ones that we observed were the result of 2 black holes that were orbiting.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Eventually coincided. Their event horizons met, and they
became one big black hole.
Essentially slammed into one and became one big black hole.
Yeah.
And obviously, huge singularities in, black holes are represented by these singularities in the curvature. So infinite curvature, and it goes to infinity or whatever. So when those slam together, I think it's pretty intuitively easy to grasp that if something like that were to slam together, you're going to get large waves in your curvature in that process.
Right.
So that's what we saw. And, you know, the fact that we know that these things, one, exist, and two, can be measured accurately, it does open the door for investigating not only black holes, but massive binary star systems as well.
Dope.
Yeah, and like
super dope.
If you think about that example that we were talking about earlier with the bowling ball and the bed sheet, it's like that black hole would be represented as an infinite hole falling through that bed sheet.
Yeah, an infinitely heavy bowling ball that continues to go all the way down to infinity.
Yep.
That's what a black hole is.
Yep, on that bed sheet.
On that rubber sheet, yeah.
Yeah, on that rubber sheet or whatever. Yeah.
Sweet.
So yeah, it's a very exciting time in physics, guys. I don't think a lot of people will grasp that, like,
physics is making a lot of breakthroughs in the past 5 years.
I know, it's amazing. It's becoming more and more exponential.
We found the Higgs boson with, like, it's there.
Yeah.
It's another particle that exists. And then we also found four quark.
I know what
particles.
you're talking about.
I can't. I'm trying to come up with the proper word for it. But usually, like your proton, your neutron are consistent of 3 quarks in a bound state and they're bound together. Well, we've discovered particles that are no, it's not 4. It's pentaquark.
Pentaquark.
That's what I'm looking for. I was thinking quarta 4. No, it's pentaquark. So we've discovered particles that can consist of 5 quarks in a bound state, which is, again, very interesting. It's like these are things that have been theorized for years, but we haven't had the energy or the technology to really see them.
Or the financial support.
Well, energy. That's the financial support.
Europe is really
is energy, really.
leading the way on physics breakthroughs.
Hey, you got a fan, by the way.
Oh, really?
Woo woo!
I want to talk gravity with you, Jack.
Well, we can talk gravity. Hot dog. Who is Hot Dog?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out.
If you're listening, your name is Hot Dog in the Google texter here at KMNR. But Hot Dog, I would love to talk about physics all day. That is my favorite thing.
I don't know who put that in there, but it wasn't us. So if that's insulting, I apologize, but it wasn't us.
But Hot Dog, yeah, I'll talk about physics all day.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a few minutes left. We're going to do an MVP. And I know you guys in the station here, we talked about doing a certain MVP person, but I'm gonna throw a wild card at you.
Oh, wild card, bitches.
I'm going to throw a wild card at you, and I have elected for this week's MVP Ted Cruz. For one specific reason, not the normal craziness.
He's
right?
the most valueless plebeian
of this week. I think so. Because, so Ted Cruz recently put out an ad showing like people talking about him, and it was like it was supposed to be like a family, and it was supposed to be real. Like, this is a real family, real interviews. Come to find out, they're scripted actors and actresses. Yeah. And one of the actresses is a former porn star.
Oh.
So, no. I'm going to keep going because he, upon realizing this, says, I got to redact my commercial that was supposed to be real but ends up being fake, and fake with the opposite of everything I believe in.
Quadruple whammy there.
But I vote him MVP not because of that. I vote him MVP because he's supposed to be this super religious guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Super Christian. Why would you redact your commercial just because she ended up being a porn star or former porn star, right? It is a job. Jesus hung out with the whores and the heathens, right? So
that's not how modern religion works, though, Connor.
I call him MVP for that hypocritical action.
Right.
I think it's garbage. I think that is just another job that some people do.
I say that's a good MVP.
I think that's a good MVP.
I agree with that. MVP.
So much hypocrisy.
But we were gonna. I'm not undermining your MVP.
It's okay.
MVP
My feelings
here.
are already hurt.
Totally fine MVP. But I wanted to just say, last comment before we leave the show here today is that the Oregon standoff is sort of over.
Yeah, no, it's over.
Is it over?
Yeah, they finished it up today.
I thought there was, as of yesterday, there was one guy that was
mopped up.
He didn't kill himself?
Nope.
Easy.
Easy.
Hey, I wanted a really cool action movie like next year, okay?
Hey, this is Aimless Pretension, and we're supposed to be controversial. And
That's true.
Okay, so the only reason I say that is yesterday I was watching the news, and I was hosting Here Now on NPR, and I heard plenty of all about what was going on. But yeah, there was only 4 people yesterday, and 3 of them decided to surrender. And the only reason I say that is the last guy said he didn't want to leave because he was, quote, feeling suicidal. And
they burst through the door and put him on a 72-hour watch.
And I was putting my money down. I was like, he's gonna kill himself. He's gonna kill himself.
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive. Oh man.
But yeah, the silly debacle that is the Organ standoff is finally over.
But we are about out of time, actually.
We are out of time.
Banana.
Yogi Bear.
Yogi Bear.
It's a minute past 1 p.m. You've been listening to KMNR 89.7 FM.
And it's been aimless.
It's been pretentious.
Hail Satan.
It's almost like we did that on purpose.
Except we didn't.
All
right, it's DJ Fish Sticks.
Jack the Ripper signing off.
And Satan, Lord of Darkness, signing off.
And nobody in all of us, no wizard that there is or was, is ever gonna bring me down. I hope you're happy.
Uh-oh, Brady, the engine's overheating. I wonder why.
Probably because we're listening to KMNR 89.7 FM, Rolla, Missouri.
We're only at half capacity!
We're in space.
Time right now is about 1:02 p.m.
They've managed to get rid of me, return me to the grave. ECT, electric chair, we shock who we can't save. They've cleared you of my memory and many more as well. You may have wanted some of them, but who can ever tell? Your brainwaves are more regular, the chemistry more pure. The headaches and the nausea will pass and you'll endure. Your son is gone forever though, of that the doctor's sure. The memories will wane, the aftershocks remain. You wonder which is worse, the symptom or the cure. They've managed to get rid of me, I'm gone without a trace. But sear the soul and leave a scar no treatment can erase.